Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get Bringing the Heat podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen to? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. It's Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsorships who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. As someone who found Anchor late, I was able to transfer all my podcasts from my previous site to Anchor, while also being able to go back and edit my episodes to insert advertisements. This truly makes Anchor the most user-friendly interface to get your podcast off the ground and running. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Hey Luke, have you been looking for a new daily fantasy sports app?
I have really been jonesing for one.
I got the perfect one for you, Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy is a new DFS app for prop bets. They have streamlined the drafting process and eliminated the need to do unnecessary hours of research by using only top-tier athletes. Instead of the traditional salary cap format, you build your lineup around a list of prop bets. For each contest, you need to choose 10 of the 20 prop bets plus 2 ice picks that protect you from any late scratches or postponed games. Each unique prop has an over and under point value assigned to it, and you will be rewarded that point value if that prop is correct. For example, your man, Mookie Betts. Will he have over or under 1.5 RBIs? The less likely the prop is to occur, the more points the choice will be worth, and you build your team score around the amount of correct props you select. Got that?
I got it.
All right, so go check out Thrive Fantasy. If you use the promo code Bring the Heat, BringTheHeat, when you sign up, they will match your first deposit of up to $10. So you deposit $10, you have $20 to play with now. Go check it out. I know that we've already had some people reach out to us about their success. They've won some of their latest, I would say, bets. So go check it out. That's Thrive Fantasy, one of the best and newest daily fantasy sports apps out there. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bringing the Heat podcast, episode 31. It's your host, Zack, and again, 2 episodes in a row, I got my co-host. This is not a record, but it kind of feels like a record. Luke, what is good?
What's up, everybody? Good to be back. I'm thinking of taking another hiatus after this one, though. I don't know.
Another 5 months.
Another 5 months, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, podcasting life is not easy. It is not an easy life.
It's difficult.
So this is probably the most hefty list we have ever had with things to talk about going into this podcast. And we are going to try to do this in professional fashion. So try to make it quick, but we're going to elaborate too. So let's just dive right into it. So the first thing everybody is talking about, at least baseball fans, are these Major League Baseball rule changes. Now,
good old Robbie announced them today.
Now, I don't know about you, but I am an old school baseball fan. Baseball was probably the first sport I really grew to love and watch, and it is really disheartening and really aggravating for me to watch some of these rules come into play either this season or next season. So let's start with the 2019 rule changes. So the first one that we have on here is the home run derby winner gets $1 million. That one I like. What do you
think? I do like that, man. It's going to bring in more viewers. Everybody got tired of seeing the same guy win the two-bat trophy and the car. It's getting old. They had to do something to spice it up. Recently, they added the new format of how they do rounds, which with the 4 minutes of timeout and then overtime if you need it. I like that new format. And with the $1 million to the winner, and I think it's $500,000 to second place, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. And that gives a guy like Aaron Judge, who I saw this on Twitter today, a guy put like all the young stars salaries, and they're making under $1 million. So a lot of them are like in the $500,000 to $700,000 range. That gives a guy like Aaron Judge incentive to go into the home run derby and make himself a cool $1 million real quick in one night.
But Aaron Judge, he chooses to make what he makes because he's been through arbitration and he chooses to take the lesser amount to build a team. I like that about him. He's not a selfish player.
Oh, I agree, but at the end of the day, it still gives him that opportunity to go out
and make that quick $1 million. Hell yeah, I'm in too.
And he's a guy that I honestly think that he could win a home run derby every time he participates in it. Just, that's just based on like his swing and everything like that. He's a guy I truthfully think can hit a home run in any, BP at bat that he wants. But that's just, he's not that, that guy. When he's practicing in a meaningful manner.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is, so there's going to be just one trade deadline. So no more August waiver wire. That's going to take effect this year. So the deadline will be at July 31st. What are your thoughts on that?
I like this one, because the August one never really had much of an impact on anybody. Nobody really made any trades. The only trade I can think of on the August deadline was Manny Ramirez to the Dodgers. And that's when the Red Sox got Jason Bay. Other than that, I cannot think of a deal by the August 31st trade deadline. So I like this. It gives, it puts more of a focus on the one deadline so everybody can get their trades in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the waiver deadline thing, like if, the Nationals last year put Harper on the waiver deadline, no one was going to no one was going to claim, if someone claimed him, which they probably would, they just take him right off. It's not like, the Nationals weren't going to trade him. I mean, he was one guy, I guess, that if no one would have claimed him, he probably could have gotten traded. But the Nationals just played that whole situation really dumb last year. But like he's a guy that possibly could have been traded on that day. But unfortunately, he wasn't, and now he's a Philly. But and then we got the 2020 stuff. So 2020.
I like this, though. You said you're an old fan. I'm an old fan as well, but none of these changes really, destroy the game of baseball for me. If they added, a pitch clock or something like that, then yeah, I'd agree, but these changes aren't really too drastic.
Yeah, so basically the 26-man roster, a lot of people like that because it gives a lot of people think it's going to open up a more jobs. So basically, a lot of teams want that utility guy. I think of Ronald Torreyes, but Ronald Torreyes was kind of like the odd man out when it came to that situation because, he wasn't playing all the time, but had they had that 26 spot, that extra spot, he could have been a guy that, I'm not going to say helped them win more games, but he could have spelled more rest for some other guys, or maybe you add a bullpen piece, something of that nature. So I kind of like that one.
Like you said, it creates new jobs. That's 30 new jobs for people that are just on the cusp of making it to the big leagues. So that gives them a better shot to make it.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually skipped a couple for 2019 by accident.
Uh-oh, we going backwards?
Yeah, that was my bad. I read the list wrong. So back to 2019.
Hey.
The other rule change is the inning breaks down from 2 minutes to 2 minutes 25 seconds to just 2 minutes.
Yeah, finally some shorter commercials is going to be good.
Yeah, less commercial breaks. I like that. And the All-Star Game voting will have a fan vote and then an election day. I kind of like that, getting the fans. I mean, the fans have a lot of say with who gets in and stuff like that. But I like it. It brings a new. I like changing the All-Star Game around because things get stale after a while. So
I feel like the All-Star game has zero meaning now because they took out the winner gets home field advantage in the World Series.
Yeah, I agree. So it kind of brings some flair back to it a little bit with the home run derby change and now this. And then they also changed so instead of 5 mound visits in a game, or instead of 6 mound visits in a game, you get 5, which I also like. So basically all these changes are just pace of play changes, which I do like because, us both know as Yankee Red Sox fans, games take forever. They're sometimes 3-4 hours long. Like, a baseball game should not take that long. So I do like those changes a lot for this season. I like the 26-man, again, like we said, for 2020. The other one for 2020. Position players are no longer allowed to pitch unless they are considered a two-way player in extra innings. In extra innings or up and down by 6+ runs. But so they can still pitch if they're getting mollywopped.
Yeah, I'd be able to pitch because Dan Mitchell told me I was a 10 up, 10 down guy. So this is good for me. This is a good rule.
Yeah, but so to me that rule doesn't change anything because I don't think any other team was bringing a position player to pitch unless they were getting shellacked or it was extra innings, like 19th inning.
Yeah.
So I don't think that rule really changes anything. This I don't like. The 3-batter minimum for all pitchers. So the Javier Lopez's of the world will no longer exist.
Yeah.
To me, I think that's stupid. So you add a position in the 26th person on the roster, but you kind of take something away. What about like Randy Choate and Javier Lopez and like those lefty specialist guys? Like that's not a thing anymore, I guess. But I guess we've
have to figure something out.
And we've kind of seen that dwindle over the last couple years anyway, I guess.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I guess there's not as many, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think you should be able to be able to throw to as many guys as you want, but that's just my opinion. A lot of people do not like that at all, though.
I'm a fan for it. It don't really bother me. I know it takes away a little bit of the strategy from the game, lefty-lefty matchups in the playoffs in certain situations. I don't see it as a damning effect to baseball, though.
It will also speed up the game because, if you have a lefty, and then you're going to bring in a lefty, then bring in a righty, then bring in a lefty, the commercial breaks and the warm-up pitches, that took forever. So
the only stat I see getting ruined by this is walks. If you bring in a lefty to face a lefty, and that inning they have lefty, righty, lefty, just walk the right-handed batter.
That's true.
That's 3 batters if you get to the next lefty.
That's true. So I didn't even see this. So no more 10-day DL stints. It's back to 15.
Yeah, it's back to the original 15. And also, it is the injured list, not disabled list anymore.
Oh, that is true. That is true. We can't forget that. So I didn't even see this. So this is for 2020 then. Why are they moving it back to 15? I like the 10-day.
They think everybody was abusing it last season because last year was really the first year that I went to 10-day because the year before they experimented with the 7-day DL for concussions. So they just came to a medium and made the 10-day, but they figured they'd just go back to 15.
Like basically abusing it like, oh, a guy needs rest, let me put him on the 10-day.
What they would do. They would just change players.
Yeah,
last year, DJ LeMahieu was on the DL 10 times.
Yeah, I guess I can see it, but I don't know. I think that's a stupid change, too. I don't know. I find I like the 10-day, but I don't know. What do I know? I don't play in Major League Baseball, so I'm not a...
I'm sure managers and teams are against it, but obviously the owners and the front office of baseball, they want those top-tier players playing every day, so they get the most views. So I see it on a business standpoint. But I understand using the 10-day DL on a player standpoint, too.
It just sucks. It sucks a little bit because, if you do have a guy who's maybe just experiencing some fatigue or maybe, you get later into the season, their arm is kind of, take, Severino, for example. He was struggling at the end. I feel like a DL stint, maybe he wasn't technically hurt, but I don't know. I kind of feel like it was a way to give guys rest when they needed rest. And
yeah, Chris Sale last year. In August and September, he was on the DL 3 separate times, so.
And, like, it's weird because between 10 and 15, like, that doesn't seem like a big difference, but it really is. Like,
that's a start. That's 3 whole starts right there you're missing.
Yeah, exactly. So I find it to be, that is a big difference. More so for pitchers than position players, but it's a lot. And baseball is a game that's played every day, basically, for the entire summer, with the exception of the All-Star break and a couple days off here and there for travel days.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how I feel about that. And then so Eloy Jimenez and Dylan Cease sent down to conserve service time and get that extra year. I kind of talked about this. I kind of talked about this like 3 podcasts ago. How I don't like this at all.
I don't either.
It's just stupid. Like, first off, the White Sox, I get, like, they suck, but he's a guy that, everyone wants to see him play. They're at the White Sox are so bad that it's like people would pay just to see Eloy Jimenez. That's almost like the Yankees sucking, and then, but people would still pay to go see Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Or like the Red Sox sucking, but they still got Mookie Betts. So, like, why shelter, those guys? Like, and why not get him that big league experience now, so then when the White Sox hopefully, in their case, start to turn it around, he starts to kind of become, not in his prime, but he has that major league experience now.
Yeah, I agree. And the Cubs did this with Chris Bryant. They did it a couple years ago. And then the next year he won Rookie of the Year and MVP.
Yeah, and the Blue Jays are doing the same thing with Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, but they're covering up with an oblique injury, so they're giving him some time. I don't know. With Eloy Jimenez, he's easily the best player on that team right now if he gets called up.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. And
it was an issue when they didn't call him up last year when they expanded it to 40 guys on the team in September, too.
I mean, I get it. It's for that extra year of MLB service time, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's so stupid. And, like, if you're a GM or an owner, like you said, don't you want your best players playing? Like, also, I saw a report the other day, the White Sox are already looking to sign Eloy Jimenez to a contract extension. So that would completely void anything that they're doing right now. Yeah. So, and we're starting to see that too. Teams giving young players long contract extensions now.
Yep.
We saw it with Scott Kingery. Now they're talking Eloy Jimenez. So, I mean, that might be the route that teams start to take.
Yeah, we'll see.
The last thing I wanted, it's not on the list here, but the last thing I wanted to say is for baseball, Aaron Hicks is hurt already, and he hasn't played at all this spring.
Oh, his back injury, right?
Yeah, he got a cortisone shot. Like, how did I know this was going to happen?
I feel like it happens to the Yankees every time they sign somebody.
Yeah, and, like, I love Aaron Hicks, and do I think they should have signed him maybe to a 3 or 4 year deal? Yeah, I'm cool with that. 7 years, man. That's going to...
Yeah, that's a lot. He's already, 27?
He's 30.
Aaron Hicks is 30?
He's 29, going to be 30. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's... Again, they got him for 10 a year, which is basically nothing nowadays. But still, like, it's stupid. So, I don't know. The Yankees are going to be without him, so I'm thinking, even though the Yankees want... Well, I think it's going to be Gardner in center, and they're going to put Stanton in left, and they're going to DH. I think they're going to keep Greg Bird on the roster and DH him until...
Why?
Yeah, I know. That's another thing. I don't want to get too much in the Yankees, but it's ridiculous. Like,
it's time that they give Clint Frazier a chance, man.
Yeah, though they said he's going to start in AAA, and he's struggled this spring already, so it's rough.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Gardner should not have been given a 1 year, $8 million contract. That spot should have been Clint Frazier's to lose.
I agree. I agree, and, like, Frazier plays left. Like, if he would have struggled, put Stanton in left. Stanton is not a bad outfielder.
No, he's not, and I don't know why they keep doing that.
I mean, I think maybe he'd benefit better by playing the field and hitting. Some guys can't DH.
Like, up and at him all the time, He's not, like, rubbing the dust off while he's getting ready to hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to come off the bench, kind of cold because you're waiting, just to hit. That's it. you're not involved in the game at all times. So I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, as much as I want to be excited for the Yankees, there are still questions. As good as their roster is on paper, there are just so many questions still. It's like, it's unreal. I mean, do I think they're going to score a lot and probably win 100 games? Yeah. But again, the Red Sox are going to be good. So, and the Astros are going to be good.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Astros are going to be better than the Red Sox this year.
So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anything else for baseball before we move to football?
Oh, yeah. Detroit took Michael Fulmer off their active roster so he could work on mechanical issues.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Oh, breaking news again in the middle of the podcast.
Oh, 2 podcasts in a row, breaking news.
Ding, 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 ding. This brought to you by Bleacher Report. The Giants just signed Marcus Golden, defensive end pass rusher. He was on our list. That's going to be later on in the episode, so I guess I got to erase him now.
We'll just talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So we've had the Odell trade where your heart was broken, and how do you feel about
it's breaking?
Yeah, all right, you still got an achy, breaky heart.
I do. If you could cue the Billy Ray Cyrus for me, then that's how I feel.
Oh God. Yeah, but back to Michael Fulmer. Yeah, that's sad for a guy whose rookie year was a complete stud. I mean, like I'm not gonna say he was in the Cy Young conversation, but like he wasn't gonna win it. But
no, but I think Detroit really ruined him because he was learning behind. They still had Scherzer at the time, didn't they?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, he was learning behind Scherzer. He was learning behind Verlander. So he was learning behind those guys, and they traded him, and they surrounded him with nothing. So he's a product of his environment, I think.
I agree. I mean, his numbers have just completely like blown up. Like it's been really bad to watch.
Dude, the Tigers were great for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're back to how they were in the 90s, the worst team in baseball.
I'm surprised Miggy is still there.
Yeah, I would have traded him, but what it is I think it's his injury history and his salary. He makes like $34 million a year.
Yeah, I don't know how much money they would save by cutting him.
I don't think any at all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's better to maybe to keep him around because when he's healthy, I think he's still going to hit close to 300 and hit 20 homers, 25 homers.
Yeah.
But
we'll see. Maybe he wins comeback player of the year. He just got to stop drinking, bro.
He's literally put on weight every year.
I know.
Oh, that's funny. So moving to football?
Yeah, on to football to go along with the breaking news.
All right. So just some mop-up work as far as signings since Tuesday, our last episode. Ravens land Earl Thomas, 4-year, $55 million, and Mark Ingram. I feel
like Mark Ingram only making $15 million is like a bad deal for him. He's only making $5 a year.
Yeah, but he's older too, and
he's only 20. I mean, 29 is old for a running back. I get that, but he's been spelled a lot. Splitting carries with Alvin Kamara. He was suspended the first 4 games, and he lost his starting job to Peter Thomas. So there's not a lot of tread on those tires.
I agree, but I mean, it's like he's very good, but if you look at his numbers, Jordan Howard's had better numbers than Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like he's not bad, but I don't think he's ever been on like a Pro Bowl level either.
I think his last 2 years were probably his best.
Yeah, I mean, he had 1 year where he was like, he was crazy good. Yeah. Other than that, I think he's been like average. I think he really worked well in that system, so I think maybe teams are reluctant to give him money because he's never kind of been that lone back.
Very true, yeah.
So I think that's probably why. But Earl Thomas kind of surprised me too. I thought he would have gotten a shorter deal because
I wouldn't have thought him to get that much money either. Like, I know he's a phenomenal player, but he can't stay on the field.
Yeah, he doesn't stay on the field, and again, he's older. He's been battered, and he's a small guy playing a position that has a lot of contact in it. Nowadays,
he kind of reminds me of Bob Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, we see way bigger guys playing safety nowadays. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like Cam Chancellor. I mean, Cam Chancellor's like abnormally
6'4".
big.
Ha Clinton Dix is 6'2".
Yeah, Eddie Jackson's not small. Like, those guys are all decently big dudes. Earl Thomas is a smaller guy. Again, he's been banged up. He's coming off a pretty bad broken leg. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I thought maybe like a 2-year deal at 10 a year.
Yeah, 10, that wouldn't 15 even been bad. Yeah.
So I thought Ha Clinton Dix would have gotten a better deal than what he got, and we'll get into that.
He only got a 1 year, $3.5 million.
Yeah.
For the Bears.
So I'll take that though.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, it's better than Antoine Bethea. So.
So I guess I'll just say it quick. The Bears signed at Ha Clinton Dix. 1 year deal. He actually turned, and you told me this, but then I looked it up and it was confirmed. He turned down a longer contract from the Redskins with more money. He said that he wanted to play for the Bears and play with Eddie Jackson, who they
But
played.
that don't make sense to me though, because he could have played with Landon Collins. They both played together at Bama. So what's the difference?
The Bears have a better defense.
I guess. I mean, the Bears are a better set team, but whatever.
There's going to be more winning opportunities.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I would think Landon Collins is probably better than Eddie Jackson, but
yeah, I think so. I don't know. I've always thought he would be a better linebacker than safety. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, and who knows how close they were? Maybe Landon Collins and Eddie Jackson never liked and Ha Clinton Dix never liked each other.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what goes on.
A man with a double hyphenated name deserves a lot more than that.
Yeah, and his real name is Hashin or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. His mom just calls him Haha.
Yeah, which is interesting. Reminds me of like Yeah or whatever, Yaya from
Yeah, shut up. Yeah, you walk like a duck.
So then we got the Chiefs. They cut 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro player, and Eric Berry after 9 years. And obviously we know the cancer survivor story.
Yeah.
Kind of sad, but not.
Yeah, I agree. This is sad, man.
Not surprising, though.
No, it's not really surprising. I think he can still play. Like, if he's 100% healthy, which I think he will be this season, whoever picks him up is going to get a steal.
Yeah, I think he can definitely still produce. I think the reason they cut him is because he hasn't been able to stay on the field. And, at times, there's just times where it's, time to cut ties. As hard as it is, you want it. Like, I compare it to kind of like Charles Tillman. Charles Tillman was the heart and soul, in my opinion, of the Bears defense. But it gets a time where, you kind of just have to move on. You're going in a different direction, and I think that's kind of just where the Chiefs were at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'll definitely...
got Tyrann Mathieu, too, so that kind of helps, ease the pain.
Yeah, and I mean, he'll definitely find a home. I mean, he's going to go to a team. I mean, hey, Redskins might need another safety.
Seahawks need one now.
Yeah, I mean, he'll find a home easily, and like you said, I think he'll produce as well. I think he's still got time left in the tank. I mean, I look at Eric Weddle. That guy's
he said ageless. He's not even in his prime yet. He's 32.
Yeah, that's insane to me. Because he thought about retiring after this year.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he just found new life. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. So the Giants stay committed to Eli Manning for 2019.
Which is not bad. I like it. But they keep flip-flopping on what they're going to do in the draft and who they think is going to be Eli's backup. Who's going to be his protege. So they're expressing interest in... Now they're expressing interest in Josh Rosen, if he's available, and also Kyler Murray. So this has me thinking they're either going to trade both first-round picks to trade up to number 1 and get Kyler, or they're going to do something else like the third-round pick they just acquired from the Browns and the 17th pick or something like that to trade for Rosen. I'm lost. I don't know what to expect anymore.
So what's going to happen is Gettleman's going to go to sleep. He's going to have a dream, and he's just going to wake up and make it happen. So, he's probably going to go out and sign Byron Leftwich.
Dude, you know what? I saw something today because today was Clemson's pro day. I was watching it a little bit.
Oh, I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Dude, J.P. Lossman was throwing to the wide receivers, and some of the scouts went up to him to hey, you thinking about making a comeback?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Colin Kaepernick's still a free agent.
Yeah, J.P. Lossman hasn't played a game since 2011.
And he was probably the worst quarterback ever. Never mind. Nathan Peterman hasn't beat, but still.
Yeah, Nate Peterman was worse, but it's so funny because I remember J.P. Lossman when he was on the Bills, and he was horrible. And it's just funny. I bet you it was probably the Giants. The Giants were probably like, hey, you want to come back up Eli?
Yeah, the same age guy. You'll be the quarterback of our future.
Yeah, so I don't think Gettleman knows what he's doing, man. And you're one of the only Giants fans I know that is okay with sticking with Eli. Like, you've stuck by Eli's side from the get-go. Like, there's never been a time where you've been like, get him out of here.
Nope.
Because
he just needs an offensive line, bro. He's proved it time and time again that he just needs an offensive line. Last year, despite what people saw on TV, was his best season of his career.
Yeah, this past season, 2019, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Statistical season of his career.
That's what's crazy.
And everybody's telling him, get out of here. No. Secure him.
And
if you give him an offensive line like Tom Brady, I guarantee you he can get the Giants back to the playoffs. You're not going to get the same results as Tom Brady. Maybe. Who knows? Because the only people that beat the Patriots are the Giants. We'll see.
People are mad because they commit to Eli and then trade Odell. I don't know. I mean,
at the same time, though, like, Odell's a great talent. He's a great player, phenomenal, whatever, locker room guy. But the Giants just thought his off-field antics and his personal issues outweighed his talents. And the Browns feel otherwise, so whatever.
And the Giants found a quick replacement for Odell, so
they did.
You can burn your Odell jersey, and you can go buy a now Golden Tate jersey.
Joke's on you. Already have a Notre Dame Golden Tate jersey, so I'm happy with that.
All
4
right.
years, 37.5, I'll take it. They're also meeting with Chris Hogan, so I don't know what's going on. They're just building a lot of offensive players through slot receivers.
Maybe they come out and run a unique offense or something.
I don't know. I mean, you can't line up 3 guys at slot. Maybe they just do a single file line, and then they all run the same crossing route. We'll see.
They're going to just run RPOs with Eli.
Yeah. Even though he can't run, he's going to get smashed.
So another thing is, could
if the Giants do cut him, if they do cut him, like you say, they save $13 million. So we will see. But they have to do it before Monday. That's
a good chunk of change, but it's not going to happen.
I hope not. But you know what? Gettleman has said, we're not going to trade Odell. We didn't sign him to trade him. And they've committed to Eli. So we'll see.
Maybe Gettleman's got multiple personality disorder.
He might be schizophrenic. He might just be slowly slipping into senility. He is 71 years old.
Because he's totally contradicted 3/4 of the things that he's said. So
yeah,
maybe
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with good old Dave, but who knows?
And you were so excited when the Giants got him as a GM.
I was, because, he was Ernie Accorsi's assistant, and Ernie Accorsi put together, the Super Bowl teams. And then this guy just comes in and just ruins it.
Don't sound so sad.
I mean, Jerry Reese started the ruining, but he at least won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This is just depressing, bro.
You can't do the podcast anymore. You're going to be on suicide watch.
I might be. I keep getting these breaking news, and it's the Giants. Next thing you know, they're going to, I don't know.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to cut Eli and bring in Blake Bortles.
Oh, God. I really wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
Blake Bortles is going to work for the Giants and Barstool Sports at the same time.
We'll see how that goes. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Saquon. I really wouldn't at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that would be crazy.
I do think that they're going to trade Janoris Jenkins, or at least cut him. So we'll see. We still got tomorrow to figure that out. So I don't know.
If Saquon ever goes on the market, I will gladly give up 5 future first-round picks for him.
The funny thing about that is the Browns do not have that.
I'm saying I'm a Bears fan. I'm saying the Bears.
Oh, I said the Browns. I meant the Bears. Because they traded their first-round. They traded their first-round picks for Mac.
All right. Well, I'll trade 2 future first-round picks. And
when's your next first-round pick? 2025?
No, 20. Not this year. Not the following year.
The Bears trading for Khalil Mack was like the Nets trading for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and Jason Terry, and trading their 10 first-round picks.
I mean, I'm cool with it, though. Khalil Mack instantly made that defense something special.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm cool with it. I mean, I think the Bears. I don't know. Like, I'm very skeptical that the Bears are going to be in the Super Bowl in a year or two.
Do you think it's going to happen or no?
I think I don't know. Like, parts of me is like, yeah, they're going to get there, and then other parts of me are like, don't get too excited, Zach, because you might be extremely disappointed here in the next 2 or 3 years.
What if they get there and they just lose again?
That would be disheartening, but at least I could say that they got there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really bad when they got shellacked by Peyton Manning.
In the rain, nonetheless.
Yeah, like Manning plays all his games in a dome, and then the
Bears are outside.
The Bears play in crap weather, nonetheless, on a crap field all the time, and they go and get smacked. That was so bad, especially when their defense was supposed to be so good that year. Yeah, that was disheartening. And then you had the kickoff, return for a touchdown. I thought for sure that game was in the bag.
Nope.
Yep, it wasn't. So moving on, Saints signed Malcolm Brown.
Great signing.
I like that signing, but I like the 49ers signing more with Jason Verrett on a 1-year deal for $3.
Yeah, that's not bad on a 1-year deal. But he has missed. He's missed 55 games out of a total 80 in his career.
He's missed a lot of games, but man, when he plays, he's locked down.
He definitely makes a difference. But Malcolm Brown, he's only 25, and he's been on 3 Super Bowl teams, making an impact.
That's true. I mean, the Saints' defense was much improved last year compared to what it's been in years past. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, at this point, I think their defense is kind of at the point where they're just going to add some necessary pieces, but not real big names. Like, I wouldn't say Malcolm Brown is a big name, and they get him at $5 million a year is nothing.
Yeah, and trading for Eli Apple, that started it last year. I'm not a big fan of Eli Apple, but he instantly changed his gameplay when he got to New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess change of scenery just helps people.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we talked about it last podcast, schemes. If maybe Eli Apple fits in their defense better, I mean,
yeah.
And he wasn't guarding the number 1 guy. I mean, that was Lattimore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Eli Apple, I didn't watch too much of the Saints, but I don't know was he the second guy or was he nickel?
I think he was the second guy. Lattimore was first.
Yeah, so he's still covering pretty good dudes.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I noticed too as I'm listening back to our podcast? I say a lot. Like I'm from Wisconsin.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
Slightly from Canada.
Yeah, kind of like that. I need to stop doing that.
Know what you mean.
So Jordy Nelson was cut by the Raiders. Surprise.
I found this funny because the Raiders Instagram page literally yesterday put up a post about Derrick Carr, Antonio Brown, and Jordy Nelson. They're bringing the heat. No, they didn't say bringing the heat, but they said see us next year or something like that. I just thought it was funny that he got cut today.
He's going to be back with the Packers.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really?
Aaron Rodgers is on the phone right now. Get me my homeboy back right now.
Well, Randall Cobb's a free agent, so he needs somebody.
Yeah, Jordy Nelson's gonna go back there. I would put money on it. If Thrive Fantasy has a prop bet for this, I would put money on it.
Are you putting down the $10 that you would get matched?
Yeah.
Using the promo code Bringing the Heat?
Yep, bring the heat.
Oh, Bring the Heat. Damn.
Yep. But yeah, I would put that $10 down because I am almost certain that he's gonna go back there.
Huh.
I mean,
I'd like to see that. They have nobody else but Devontae Adams right now.
Exactly. And Jordy Nelson, that's him and Aaron Rodgers are best friends.
Yeah, I would say he knows the offense too, but it's going to be different because they fired Mike McCarthy.
That's true too. I think if McCarthy was still there, he'd be a Packer already.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I forgot about Randall Cobb being a free agent.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's looking at him, bro.
I would pick him up. I bet you he goes to the Dolphins.
I bet you he goes to the Giants because they're just signing slot receivers.
Maybe. Why didn't they sign Cordero Patterson then?
I don't know. Well, the Giants missed out on Dante Moncrief, too. He just signed with the Steelers to replace AB, so...
Yeah, I mean, they got a real upgrade in Dante Moncrief, Steelers.
Oh, yeah. How many touchdowns did he score with Andrew Luck as his quarterback? Like 3?
Yeah, not a lot. And he wasn't even like, I know he wasn't the number one guy, but T.Y. Hilton was drawing how much attention.
He was drawing like triple coverage as a 5'8" receiver.
Yeah, and Moncrief still couldn't score.
Nope. And he didn't score last year either.
He had a couple because he's the one that slaps the base when he scores.
I'm dead.
So he had a couple, which is weird because he had a way worse quarterback throwing him footballs.
True.
So yeah, I mean the Steelers signed Moncrief. The Colts, I kind of like this. Colts are eyeing Jay Ajayi, but at the same time, I really like the Colts running backs. You went through them last podcast. I like them. I like what they have.
I like them too, but I think Jay Ajayi makes them that much better on offense. And you're not going to break the bank because it's going to be a short deal, like a prove-it deal, because he just tore his ACL and he's coming back from that. So
and a broken back. He had a back injury too.
Oh, poor guy. But I'm really surprised that the Colts aren't signing any of these receivers. I really would have thought that they would have gone after like a Golden Tate or somebody like that. Yeah, they have the most cap space available, and Golden Tate didn't even break the bank. He's only making $9 million a year.
Yeah, they've only signed Devin Funches. That's probably where Randall Cobb will go.
Ooh, the Colts.
Yeah, because then you'll have Hilton, Funches, and Cobb.
That's not a bad trio right there.
No, that's not too bad. So I bet you that's where he goes.
We'll see.
I don't know. I kind of thought Cobb in Miami. I don't know why. I just feel like I could see it.
I wouldn't go to anywhere in Miami, man. They don't have a quarterback right now.
Yeah, well, Tannehill's still signed.
He ain't playing, bro. Flores is giving him the boot. You know what? Tannehill might go back to wide receiver.
I don't think he can. I think his knees are too messed up now.
He should have never been a quarterback.
Hey, maybe Blake Bortles is the starting quarterback of the Dolphins.
They're still looking at Teddy Bridgewater, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot Teddy Bridgewater hasn't signed yet.
He hasn't signed yet, so.
This is a little surprising to me. Redskins bring back AP on a 2-year deal, $13 million.
Adrian Peterson, he still got it, man. He found the fountain of youth.
No, yeah, he played extremely well last year. I just don't know how much he's going to play this year with Geis coming back.
Yeah, that's true. But to be on the contrary of that, you don't know how good Geis is going to be. You don't know if he's going to be the same guy that you drafted.
No, that's true, but I think if you're the Redskins, you have to give Geis that shot because you wasted a second-round pick on him. He was a first-round talent. And, they're at a point in their franchise where it's basically a rebuild. You need to see what you got because if Geis isn't the guy, now you can get rid of him and start planning what you need. So I think any young players that they have that they need answers from, they need to play them this year.
I didn't even know why they drafted him last year because Samaje Perine was not bad.
No, and they had Thompson, but he's been horrible. He can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
And when he does, he doesn't play.
Who better than Adrian Peterson to guide Geis back from an ACL injury,
Oh, I agree. And I think, after being with Washington last year, I think he fell in love and he played so well on a team that really had, at the end, nothing to play for.
Very true. I mean, he dusted up the Giants twice last year, so.
He looked good. It was fun to watch him because, as I said, my dad's a Redskins fan, so I watch a lot of the games. And, it was fun to watch because the guy's old. Like, he's defied odds for running backs. Most guys are retired 3-4 years by now.
True. Very true.
So, I mean, it's kind of cool to watch. I mean, regardless of his personal issues that he's had, I mean, he's a tank. Guy's awesome to watch.
Dude, him and Frank Gore still being in the league helps me sleep at night because I grew up watching those guys.
Oh yeah, they were the first pick in your fantasy football leagues all the time.
And then Marion Barber for the 2-year span there.
Well, and LT was the guy too.
Forget about him, dude.
I watched the Football Life. If you ever watch a Football Life, his is really good.
LaDainian Tomlinson's?
Yeah.
Gonna have to watch that.
Like he goes back and he finds out that his family were slaves, and he goes back to the farm that they were at, and his family actually became wealthy. They were like farmers, which never happened. So he actually met there was a white guy with the last name Tomlinson, and they weren't related, but that guy's ancestors were LaDainian Tomlinson's ancestors, slave owners, basically. And,
oh wow!
And like it was really cool to watch them to like talk, and the guy explained like LaDainian's whole like lineage.
Sure.
It was pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
So I don't think we mentioned this last time. D Ford was traded to the.
This happened as soon as we like signed off.
Yeah. He was traded to the 49ers and then signed a 5-year, $87.5 million contract. I know that you aren't too fond of this.
It just doesn't make sense to me. You know, the guy's been in the league since 2012, and he just made an impact last year. In 2016, he had like 8 sacks, and then in 2017, hurt the whole year, and then just last year he had 13 sacks, and that equates to $87.5 million. Doesn't make sense to me. He's already 29 years old by the time the league starts next year. Or no, 28, sorry. And, I mean, I guess he was rated the number 1 pass rusher with a 91 by Pro Football Focus for the past season, but I don't get it. I think he's just going to be a one-year wonder.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like we said last podcast, we see it all the time with defensive players, you know?
Yeah.
You can go out and have 2 phenomenal years and you're going to make coin.
Look at Bud Dupree, bro.
Yep.
He sucked for like the first 3 years, and all of a sudden now he's good. I mean, granted, he's still on the Steelers, but it took him a long time.
Yeah, well, the Steelers are talking about getting rid of him because he hasn't even lived up to the hype that they've wanted him to.
Yeah.
So they've talked about cutting him. I mean, I don't think his contract is a ton, but I think it would save him some money. So they've talked about getting rid of him.
Jesus.
I mean, the Steelers are... I honestly think the Steelers are going to be going through a serious rebuild here soon.
Probably starting now. They just lost Le'Veon Bell. James Conner's not young.
He's not old, though.
He's 27.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so. He was a rookie 2 years ago.
Yeah, but he was also a 5-year senior because he had cancer.
That's true, too. Yeah, he might be 26.
Oh, nope, 23. All right, I'm wrong. James Conner, very young man.
Well,
very young man.
You got to think, all right, so we graduated. I was a 5-year, and I graduated when I was 22.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that makes...
I was a 4.5, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, Luke's smarter than I am. So that's it for the free agent signing. There's nothing else that popped up, right, other than the Deshaun Goldson?
I didn't even see Deshaun Goldson. Where's he going?
Oh, wait, didn't you say that's who the Giants signed?
No. Marcus Golden.
Oh, Marcus Golden.
Deshaun Goldson doesn't even play in the NFL anymore.
So much for what I know.
That's funny.
I thought that's what you said. I don't know.
So, I was doing this list today, and I figured we'd have some fun today. Going to do a new little segment predicting where the remaining top 10 free agents go. So, me and you both have this list.
Yep.
So, let's go down the list and say where they're going to go. Now, obviously, Marcus Golden is on this list, and we already saw he signed with the Giants, so we can skip over him.
Sounds good.
All right, number 1 on the list, Ronald Darby. Where do you think he's going? Keep in mind, last night he met with the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm going to go Raiders.
I'm going to say he signs with the Chiefs because him, Fuller, and who's their other cornerback? I think they actually cut the other guy. So him and Fuller, probably good tandem, and then having Tyrann Mathieu, pretty good squad there.
I just thought Raiders maybe because I think they're still trying to add pieces to the defense.
Very true. Yeah.
I don't know how well Gary and Connolly did last year, but
he's been kind of a bust, no?
I think wasn't he a rookie last year?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Houston, right?
Huh?
Gary and Connolly from Houston, right?
Yeah. So I think that and they don't have any other corners that I know of. I think
they had DJ Hayden, but he was a bust.
Yeah, and they had Amerson or something like that.
Oh, Amerson's good. David Amerson, yeah.
But other than that, I mean...
He signed somewhere else, though. He left.
Yeah, so I feel like they have no corners. So I think that'd be a good spot for him.
Rashawn Melvin is the other corner.
All right.
Yeah. Number 2, Bryce Callahan, former Bear.
You go first.
I'm going to say he goes to the Panthers.
Panthers?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say he's going to go to St. Louis.
St. Louis.
St. Louis lost Roby. I mean, I know that Callahan's more of a nickel, but with losing a piece, I don't know. And no one's really shown interest in Callahan so far.
Zack,
So,
you are aware that there is no St. Louis team anymore, right?
L.A. I'm still getting used to this.
Oh, man.
L.A. Yes, sorry, and that would be the L.A. Chargers.
Okay, yeah, the Chargers. Good. Oh, because they just lost Verrett. Pickup. Okay, I like that.
I'm an idiot. Why did I say Chargers? I meant Rams.
I like the Chargers pick better.
Oh my God, I'm a complete. I just want people to know that I had a really rough day today.
Funny.
I meant Rams because I said Roby. Roby just left the Rams, correct?
No, he left the Broncos.
Oh my God, I am. All right,
you're having a tough day today, bro.
Yeah, go next.
Number 3, DeQuez Denard. He played for the Bengals. Where do you think he's gonna go?
Chargers.
All right, okay, that sounds good.
That would be the L.A. Chargers.
The L.A. Chargers. All right, Jared Cook, the tight end from the Raiders last year. Started off his career slow in Tennessee, but kind of blew up last year in Oakland. Really showed his talents. Where do you think he goes?
I'm going to go with what you already have down as the Saints because he's met with them and they lost Watson. So
yeah, I agree. I think him on the Saints is going to be dangerous. That offense is going to be probably even better next year.
Yeah, I think I'm back on track now. I got that one good.
Number 5, Marcus Golden. I think he's going to go to the Giants.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a long shot guess and say the Giants.
Wow, big time.
I didn't say
Number
Jets.
6, Justin Houston. This is interesting. The Chiefs just cut him because they switched to a 4-3 instead of a 3-4. He's a 3-4 outside linebacker, and I know one team that is looking to replace Trey Flowers, and that would be the Super Bowl winning Patriots, and they're known for signing old pass rushers. So I'm going to say Justin Houston goes to New England.
The only other team that I can think of that lost a bunch of linebackers would be the Ravens.
Him and the Ravens, that sounds like a good fit too.
But my only thing is, like, you cut Suggs or you didn't re-sign Suggs. You know, I know Suggs is older, but do you want another aging linebacker? So I don't know if they would do that. But that's the only other team I can think about that lost a ton of linebackers due to free agency.
Well, Suggs did say he would have gone back to the Ravens if they offered him more money. It was the same length on the contract, so I can see them offering Houston a 1-year deal too.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd be more inclined to go to New England because
that's a more of a winning scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Patriots.
True. Number 7, this guy could easily be number 1 on this list.
Yeah,
Ndamukong Suh.
This one's tough for me. I don't know. Like, I think we haven't heard anything about him. Like, we haven't heard anything. So,
you know what, dude? I might be a homer saying this, but the Giants ranked dead last in run stopping up the middle after trading Damon Harrison last season. So I'm going to say the Giants pick up Suh.
And I don't want to be a copycat, but I was just going to say the same exact thing. Because the Giants are the one team that I think once they got rid of Snacks, they really struggled in the run game.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm not copying you. I was thinking the same exact thing. They don't have and they don't have a big defensive presence now. I mean, they also got rid of Vernon. So,
I mean, don't get me wrong. B.J. Hill he's a great player, but he's not a nose tackle. And I've been in that locker room. I've seen him. He's a small defensive lineman, so he's probably more of like a defensive end in a 3-4 scheme, like a 5 technique. But he's definitely not the guy that just set up in the middle there.
I just don't think he would go to the Giants. I think he's going to want to go to a team that he has a shot to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, that's what his whole ordeal was last year, and they made it, but they clearly did not win.
I mean, the Patriots don't need defensive linemen, do they?
Yeah, they just lost Malcolm Brown, and I'm pretty sure Danny Shelton's a free agent too.
Yeah.
And Trey Flowers is gone.
Well, there you go. 1-year deal from the Patriots.
Dude, imagine if the Patriots get Justin Houston and Ndamukong Suh. I'm not watching football.
Yeah, that would be but I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't either.
All right, next.
All right. C.J. Anderson, after his stellar 6-game performance in St. Louis, who is the most hungry running back team right now.
Well, before we talked about Jay Ajayi, I would have said the Colts because, like we said, we like their running backs, but I wouldn't say any of those guys are real between the tackles guys. CJ Anderson, after putting on some weight, is a very big individual who can handle the ball between the tackles.
Dude, he really did gain a lot of weight, man.
Yeah, and he didn't. He was serious. He came out and said, "Yeah, I did." Man, I don't know. I mean, I could see. I don't know. That's another tough one.
I'm gonna say, maybe he goes to the Chiefs. I know that they kind of don't have a running back right now. They have a running back tandem.
Yeah, they got Williams, who's pretty good.
Yeah, I do like him. He came on out of nowhere last year, man.
What about the Dolphins?
They got Kenyon Drake. I think they're set on him, giving him a chance.
True.
What if the Bears get him? They trade Jordan Howard and sign C.J. Anderson.
Yeah, but they already signed Mike Davis, who they like a lot, and he's a big dude.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. C.J. Anderson's kind of in the air. I think I could see C.J. Anderson going another, wait it out, like go another free agency, wait till teams start to play
during the season.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy to me that the Colts are not sticking with Marlon Mack because right now he's like the 15th ranked running back in the NFL.
See,
that's not bad given the names that are above him.
I think they will stick with him. I mean, the only other team I can think of is the Texans.
Yeah. I don't know what their running backs is. Dude, Lamar Miller is bad.
Yeah, Lamar Miller's fallen off. Alfred Blue is like okay as a backup, but he's not an every down back. So I can see
it's supposed to be Deontay Foreman's team now, but he can't stay on the field. He's always hurt.
Yeah, so
I changed my pick. I think C.J. Anderson will go to the Texans.
Yeah, I think that's the most running back needy team.
Yeah.
But I think C.J. Anderson would fit well with the Colts. I do. But I think if he's going to go for playing time and carries, I think he's got to go to the Texans.
Yeah. All right. Next on the list at Eric Berry, number 9. Where do you see him going after getting cut?
You go first.
I say the Seahawks.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Just with losing Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor is no longer going to play.
Is that definite?
Yeah, he basically retired. I mean, I don't think he ever signed like his papers, but the doctors told him he can't play anymore. So, and that happened over the summer. So he's done. They have a hole at safety now. They might draft somebody, but they're gonna. I would think Barry would be good to basically fill that void until that guy, whoever they draft, develops. I mean, the other team could be the Ravens didn't. Oh yeah, they did. Earl Thomas, duh.
Earl Thomas, but yeah, the Ravens D-backs are pretty stacked with Earl Thomas now because their corners are pretty good too. But yeah, I think the Seahawks are really gonna be okay. But if they sign Eric Berry, that'll put them on to the next level. They're not a bad team. They're definitely a playoff team.
No, yeah, I mean, anytime Russell Wilson's playing quarterback, I think they'll be all right. Whatever happened to the Russell Wilson Giants report? Was that all false?
I told you it wasn't true, man. Colin Cowturd said it was true. That guy's an idiot. He's like, oh, yeah, Sierra wants to move to New York. There was nothing ever official about that.
Well, if he says it, it's got to be true.
Why do you think he's not at ESPN anymore?
All right, next on the list.
Who is next on the list?
Ezekiel Ansah.
Ezekiel Ansah from the Lions.
What do you think?
Pass rush needy team.
I tell you what, if
Cowboys. I say the Cowboys because they just lost Randy Gregory and David Irving again.
And Lawrence might not play, I think, he said something about the franchise tag or something like that.
$20.6 million for the franchise tag. He better play.
Yeah, I can see the Cowboys. The only other team is, who did we say before needed a pass rusher that we talked about on this
Probably
list?
The Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, he has scheduled meetings. I don't remember where they were at, but he had a couple scheduling meetings. So I don't know on Ezekiel Ansah because he's had health issues as well. But when he's played, he's done well. He came into the NFL as a raw talent. Like he didn't start playing football, I think, till like his senior year of high school or something.
Didn't he have like 20 sacks his rookie year or something like that?
I don't know if it was 20, but I know he's had a lot, and he had a really good rookie year. So maybe he goes back to the Lions.
Maybe he could.
Oh, well, they got Trey Flowers though.
Dude, Trey Flowers is a monster.
Yeah, so I mean, he might not go since they got Trey Flowers.
Last but not least, in a substitution of Marcus Golden, because as I said earlier in the podcast, signed with the Giants, so he's off the list. Shaq Barrett. He was an outside linebacker / edge rusher for the Broncos, opposite of Von Miller. Where do you see him going?
Did he lose his spot to Chubb?
They started Chubb at the defensive the DN tackle slot, but then I think they stood him up. So yeah, I think he did lose his spot.
Another linebacker. God, this is hard. I mean, the Cardinals kind of filled their linebacking issues. What about the Falcons?
Not bad. I think the Falcons could use it big time. But yeah, yep, you were right, bro. Bradley Chubb replaced Shaquille Barrett. I could see Shaquille Barrett going to Miami because they just lost Cameron Wake to the Titans.
That's true. Dude, Cameron Wake is also ageless, by the way.
Dude, he's like 37, and the Titans just gave him a 3-year deal.
Yeah, he's a monster. And what's crazy is he came from the Canadian Football League.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's an absolute tank. I like Cameron Wake. He was basically people called him like a Miami legend. Like he's up there. Like he's got to be
definitely on the same page as what's the guy's name? Jason what?
Jason Taylor.
Yeah, Jason Taylor.
Yeah, I would think so. Like Cameron Wake was a quiet legend in Miami. Like I want to say he made a couple first team All-Pro teams.
True. He probably did. Yo, another question. I'm adding to the list. Shane Ray. He's also a free agent. Yeah, where do you think he's going to go? Because the Broncos gave up on him.
I think he's going to go to the AFL.
Arena football?
Or, sorry, the AAF.
You think he's that bad?
He has not lived up to the hype, and a lot of people think he's really bad.
Really?
Yeah, I've read some reports on Shane Ray, and the views aren't great.
Poor guy. He was drafted, so wasn't he?
He was a first rounder, I think.
So high. Get it? He got weed issues.
I think he was a first rounder.
He was. Speaking of weed issues, my man.
That's weed.
David Irving,
weed issues, the cannabis issues.
Stay off the weed. This dude, David Irving, he was suspended for smoking weed, for failing another test again. In an IG video, an Instagram live video, he quit football smoking weed. And then a report came out today that he's starting a development on his own marijuana strain.
Yep, I mean,
good for this guy.
So we're a little late on this because I think this happened last week. At least him quitting football. I don't know about the marijuana thing.
Yeah, he quit football last week.
But I mean, in my honest opinion, I think this guy's an idiot. I don't want to trigger any people, that are pro, weed, like 420, bro. Like, I don't want to.
420, blaze it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to offend those people, but this guy's stupid. Like, I'm sorry, you could have laid off the weed for 5-6 years, make your money, and then go smoke all the weed you want when you retire.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? These players know when they're going to get tested. So you can smoke all the weed you want during the season.
Yeah, and I mean,
you know when they're going to get tested.
And the thing is, like, people, like, his defense was, well, you think the guys in the NBA don't smoke, and you think the guys in Major League Baseball don't smoke? Like,
they're smart about it. They know when they're going to get tested.
And listen, it is what it is. Not every employer is the same. Like, you can't point fingers and say, oh, well, this place doesn't do it. You don't work for them. You work for a completely different organization, so you can't do that. And so, in my honest opinion, I mean, am I completely against people who smoke? No, I don't care whether you smoke or not. But don't complain when your employer. If I got caught smoking weed, I'd be fired. I'd lose my job. So
very true.
You gotta do what you got to do until you retire, and then you can do whatever you want. And it's like you're going to be retired when you're 30-some years old. The average person retires when they're 70, 65.
Whoa.
Luke's getting a phone call.
No, I am not. That was on the laptop. Sorry about that.
So, yeah, I mean, Irving, you're dumb.
He is stupid.
That's all I got to say. You're dumb.
That's it for the NFL. Unless we missed anything, I don't think we did.
I mean, I missed what players play on which teams.
And you also named an extinct team as well.
Yeah, I completely whiffed. I apologize. For those of you that don't know, my day was complete. I'm not going to curse, but it was horrible.
It's excusable, man. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a bad day. So.
Well, moving on to one of our favorites, MMA.
Yes.
UFC talk. Our boy Derrick Lewis lost again.
Yeah.
Where do you see him going from here on out in the heavyweight division?
So yeah, Derrick Lewis is our boy. He's basically been our boy since the time he knocked out Travis Brown. It's sad to me, but it's not surprising. He's had back issues. We know endurance is always going to be a problem. He literally is a guy that looks for the right hand knockout. That's about it. It's not surprising to me, but it's disheartening because I love Derrick Lewis. Like, I would have loved to see him be a champ, and I'm such a Derrick Lewis supporter that I bought that fight against DC, knowing that he was going to lose.
Yeah.
But, I love Derrick Lewis. He was a guy that was in jail, came out, and he genuinely seems like a really nice guy. I mean, for all the stuff he did during the hurricane and all that. So I love Derrick Lewis. Parts of me wants to say I can see him being like Mark Hunt, like kind of like that gatekeeper, welcoming new heavyweights into the division.
I was just about to say that. I think that's what he's going to be. But
I don't think that's going to happen. I think if he loses another fight or two, he's going to retire because he's already talked about retiring before because of the back issues. I think he's made his money. I think he made his money on that Daniel Cormier card. I think he's drawn a lot of fans. I think he's actually dabbling into acting. I've seen him on his Instagram page doing some acting stuff. So I think that, Derrick Lewis is going to be done fighting here soon. I could see him one or two fights.
He should go into comedy, bro. This guy, he's naturally hilarious.
Yeah, I think comedy would be good for him. I mean, I really want to see him on Joe Rogan's podcast to kind of hear a little bit more about him. But because, Rogan's podcast goes for like 2 hours. I mean,
dude, some of them go to 4. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, it gives you a lot of time to learn about who, you'll find out everything about Derrick Lewis, and so I think that comedy is something that he could do, and he seems knowledgeable about fighting. I mean, I don't know if really being on like Fox or Fox ESPN as an anchor.
I couldn't see him as a fight analyst, bro.
I think.
Oh shit, my balls dropped down on that left hook.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen, but maybe, what would be good? He have a like Facebook Live or like a Periscope and just record what's going on and then just do his own like announcing.
That'd be pretty funny. I would watch that, actually.
Me too. I would watch that. So Derrick Lewis, if you ever listen, I would love to have you on the podcast, and I would also pitch you that idea.
Dude. So, Junior Dos Santos, he's been on a roll of late. As we just mentioned, he beat Derrick Lewis.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
Where does he go now? Does he rematch Stipe? Does he fight Francis Ngannou? Does he fight DC for the title? What's going on? I don't think he fights for the title because as I stand like Pat, I'm a big Brock Lesnar fan. I really think he's the next guy to fight DC for the title once Cormier's healthy. And Dana White has said that multiple times. But you don't think that fight's happening?
I don't think that fight's happening, and I don't think Lesnar should be the number one guy. I think it should be John Jones. I think John Jones should fight for the heavyweight title. But I think Dos Santos needs to fight Ngannou. I think if he beats Ngannou with an impressive victory, which I think would be a tough task for him, because Dos Santos is going to face someone who's got more power than what he has. We haven't really seen Ngannou's chin. I don't think he hasn't really been in a predicament where he's been in like knocked out. It's really been the endurance, and when he lost to Stipe, it was more the endurance and then the wrestling that lost him that fight. I think, Ngannou is so much bigger than Dos Santos. I think that Ngannou wins that fight, but I think Dos Santos would have to fight him, and then if he wins that fight, he goes on and fights whoever the champ is. I don't know if by then Cormier would be retired. I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know, man. He keeps extending his retirement date, and I had a feeling this was going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know if he's doing it like he genuinely wants to retire or he's just doing it for like publicity. But so I think Dos Santos has to fight Ngannou first. And I think Ngannou needs more than one more. Like, I think he needs to fight a couple more times before he can fight for the title again, because he did get beat in pretty impressive fashion by Stipe, and then he had that awful fight against Derrick Lewis.
That fight was probably one of the worst I've ever seen.
I think that fight set him back more than a loss. Like, I think not only did he lose that fight, but he looked hard, like he didn't do anything. So I think that
maybe 5 punches the entire fight.
Yeah, so I think that kind of set him back more than if he would have just went in and got knocked out.
Yeah.
I think that fight needs to happen. But I think Jon Jones should be the guy that fights Cormier next, whether that be for the light heavyweight or for the heavyweight. But it's tough because the light heavyweight division is coming around.
It is. I think it's more stacked than it has been than in years past. Is it going to catch up to the days of like the Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, Randy Couture era? Me personally, I don't think so. I don't think it's even close. But there's new blood in the division. Johnny Walker, who me and you are both incredibly impressed with. Dominic Reyes is pretty good. He's fighting this weekend. I don't know who he's fighting, but he's fighting
Vulcan.
Özdemir, right?
Yeah, Özdemir, yeah.
And then Thiago Santos. All 3 of those guys are monsters, and I think they could give Jon Jones a run for his money.
Yeah, but that's what we think. And then we saw the Anthony Smith fight. Jon Jones is not only better in the cage, like he's not only better in every aspect of MMA, but he's got that intimidation factor. And I don't care what Anthony Smith said before that fight. I'm not gonna say he was like scared, that's why he lost, but Jon Jones is intimidating. Like, maybe not looking at him, but his record, the way he's finished people, the way he's run through every single opponent, that's scary. And you're going into a cage with a guy that literally knows he's the greatest person to ever step foot in that cage.
Do you think Jon Jones is more of a dominant champion than Chuck Liddell was?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I'm
going to say no.
I think
only because of who Chuck Liddell had to fight.
Yeah, but you start putting together who Jon Jones has started to fight. A lot of those guys are legends, and I
would say only like 4 of them are legends.
Well, you got Belfort.
He fought Jon Jones towards the end of his career, but yes,
still a legend. You got Cormier twice. Who else? Gustafsson isn't a legend, but he was very good.
Rashad Evans at the end of his career, but still a legend.
Yeah.
Shogun. So, yeah, I guess I would say it's even. I recognize Jon Jones as the greatest of all time. I do. But I think Chuck Liddell fought a more stacked division. Because when he was fighting, he had Tito Ortiz, Randy. He had Dan Henderson, Rampage, Shogun in his prime, Vanderlei Silva, Rashad Evans when he was still undefeated. That was stacked. And this is what I like to see now, the light heavyweight championship, like that division coming back to that amount of depth.
Yeah, but I think that the guys that fought back then were more one-dimensional than the guys that are fighting now.
You definitely saw a lot more knockouts back then.
Yeah, so in my honest opinion, that's what also makes me think Jones is better, because it's not like, Jon Jones has to be ready in all aspects of MMA. He's not going to go in there and just strike. Like, he's going to take you down. He's going to, we don't see too many submission attempts from him, but he's going to take you down. He's going to wear you out, but he needs to be ready in, submission defense and all those things. So I think, he has to be more well-rounded than what the guys had to be back then. And
we have seen him go toe-to-toe with some lethal strikers.
Exactly. So that's why, in my opinion, I think he's a better champion. He's lost the title, come back and had to get it, and no problem. I mean,
he only lost the title because of his own stupidity.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, he's lost it and gotten it back easily, no problem. Like, he knew he was going to do it. And then I just, as good as I don't think that the division's as good as what it was back then, though. I don't think it's even close because, Johnny Walker's exciting, but who has he fought? Anthony Smith is good, and he's beaten some good people, but he's not, he struggled in the beginning of his career, and I never thought for once that John Jones was going to lose that fight.
No, neither did I.
I like Thiago Santos, though. I do like him. He is an animal. Scary. Yeah, he's an animal. And he's got a chin. So I think
he used to fight at 170.
Yeah, I know. That is one guy that I think, I'm not going to say beat John Jones, but I think he would give John Jones a better fight than Anthony Smith.
I think Thiago Santos is the equivalent of Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Yeah, but he's got crazy endurance. Like, he doesn't tire, and
he just goes.
Yeah, and he's got a chin. So I think he would press the action against Jones. He's got some decent takedown defense. I think it would pose a little bit of trouble. And this is Santos's time because he's older. So this is his time to go for the belt. So I like where the division's heading. I think Johnny Walker, he's still super young. So, I mean, he's got tons of time yet. But, I'm not ready to see a John Jones, Johnny Walker fight just yet. I like Johnny Walker. I think he's got to beat. Like, I think I got to see him and Thiago Santos or him and Anthony Smith before I can say that he needs to fight for a title. And by then, John Jones might be in the heavyweight division. He might be a two-belt champ.
What if he is a two-belt champ and he defends in both divisions?
That's so hard to do nowadays. We don't see too many fighters doing it because...
I really think he could be the only guy that could do it.
Yeah, I think he's at like a perfect weight that he walks around naturally at, that the weight cut isn't too bad, and, putting on weight isn't an issue.
Pretty sure he walks around at like 220.
Yeah, so I mean, he could put on weight, and then you take your rest, and in that meantime, you lose the weight, and he doesn't seem to have a problem with that. I think if he's going to do it, he needs to do it now because as you get older, that shit's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, as much as we hate DC, like, he was smart. He knew that the weight cut it was draining him, and he knew that he was better as a heavyweight. So even though he's really short, his wrestling makes up for it, and he packs a punch at heavyweight.
Gotcha. Did you watch the prelims to the Derrick Lewis card last weekend or no?
I didn't. I actually didn't watch any of the fights because I was away. I was in Philly.
Oh, dude, this one fight, Tim Means versus Nico Price.
Yeah, I saw the highlights.
This was a slobber knocker.
Yeah, Nico Price is a stud.
And then Nico Price just caught him with a hook. This guy felt like a bag of bricks. He snapped his leg. He fell so hard. It was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I saw that. Tim Means had to get his he's out for a while from a broken leg. Did he get surgery on it?
I think he did get it.
Yeah, I saw the highlights, and unfortunately I couldn't watch the card because I was at a concert in Philly, but I saw the highlights, and that sucks. That's disgusting. I mean, not only did you get your head punched off, but you broke your leg when you woke up from it.
Yeah, that sucks. So, Ben Askren has been one of the newer additions to the UFC roster.
Hate him.
I cannot stand this guy.
Yeah, I hate him. He's good, but I hate him.
That's your opinion? You don't like him?
No, I don't. I cannot stand, especially after
most junk.
Yeah, especially after he beat Robbie Lawler, which is.
But he was getting his brains beat in.
Well, yeah, and it was a controversial stoppage. And then when he basically, they asked him, "Will you fight Robbie again?" He's like, "I have no interest in it. No interest in a rematch."
Because he knows he'd get his ass kicked the second time.
Exactly. So to me, I don't like. I just just the way Ben Askren looks is annoying, and then the crap he talks. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Askren, but. Whatever. He's undefeated still. He hasn't fought too many. He does have a win now against Robbie Lawler, but again, that's controversial.
Who do you hate more, Ben Askren or Colby Covington?
Oh, Colby Covington.
Yeah, that kid, he's a scumbag, that kid, bro.
Yeah, he's a total scumbag. I hope when he fights Usman that Usman absolutely just destroys him. I don't care. I'll take another Woodley fight where he just takes down Covington and just basically squeezes the life out of him. Like, I'm cool with that.
Colby Covington reminds me of, that 35-year-old at the bar that still wears, Affliction T-shirts with tight whitewashed jeans. sunglasses, and just drinks Bud Lights and starts fights with everybody.
I agree, like a frat boy, like a crappy frat boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of the same, and I can't stand him. I mean, especially, like, I guess, like, after Usman won, like, Tyron Woodley's mom, like, you know, was very
she's,
nice.
like, very welcoming and nice to the people.
Yeah, and I guess Covington was, like, talking crap to her and was calling her names and stuff. Like, really? Like, you're going to say that to an older woman? Like, grow up, dude.
I bet you she would beat the crap out of Covington.
I would love to see that.
I would have died laughing.
They need to put Covington on Bully Beatdown. Remember that show?
Yeah, bro. Jason Mayhem Miller as the host.
Yeah.
Man, talk about a promising MMA career.
Yeah.
That guy lost it, man. He's nuts.
Yeah, but yeah, screw Covington, screw Askren. I don't like either one, but I will buy Askren cards because I want to see him lose.
I can't wait to see him get knocked out. I really want to see him lose.
I don't know who's going to fight next.
I think they said if Darren Till wins, that's who's going to fight.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a good fight. I think Till is pretty well rounded.
I think Till knocks him out.
I hope. That'd be awesome to see that stupid hair flopping.
Speaking of Darren Till, he is fighting this weekend, Fight Night 147 on ESPN. We're going to do the preview for this card, only the top 3 fights, though. So starting with previously mentioned Volkan Oezdemir and Dominic Reyes. Who do you got in this?
I'm hoping for Dominic Reyes. I'm also not a Vulcan fan, especially after he got slabbed with some domestic abuse.
Yep.
So I'm going to go Dominic Reyes. I'm going to go knockout.
What round?
I'm going to say 3rd round. I think the knockout's going to be aided with some fatigue.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go Reyes because I don't like Volkan. He came out of nowhere. I don't think he really fought anybody good either. And then he got slapped with the domestic violence.
Well,
he's the only guy that I ever rooted for Daniel Cormier to beat.
Yeah,
I normally pick Daniel Cormier to lose, but I wanted him to win that one.
And he got worked. He got worked by Cormier.
I think he's going to be a knockout too.
I hate his whole no time thing because that's his name, No Time Oezdemir. Like,
that's stupid.
You can't even spell no time.
I think he's going to get caught with a knee in the 2nd round.
All right. I haven't seen Reyes fight too much, so I don't really know what his arsenal.
He's kind of lanky and he's weird. He's funky.
I know he's way taller. I saw the face off today.
He has big legs though, man.
Yeah.
Next is Leon Edwards versus Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson's kind of been on a roll of late after being on the slide. He's one of McGregor's boys, so I'm going to go with Nelson in this one.
Yeah.
He's going to choke him out.
I've always loved Gunnar Nelson. You know, he's kind of one of those guys with a no BS attitude. Goes in there and just, you know, tries to get it done. I'm gonna go Nelson as well. I'm gonna go knockout again.
Knockout.
Yeah, he's got some power behind his punches.
He does.
He's a pretty solid dude too.
Yeah, he's definitely a well-rounded fighter.
But he has had issues with getting knocked out.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't have much of a chin.
So
that if he does lose, I think that's how he is gonna lose.
I was just gonna say if he loses, I look for it to be a knockout.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick with Nelson going. I think he's gonna choke him out in like the 2nd or 3rd. And then last but not least, the main event: Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal.
For some reason, I've never been a Jorge Masvidal fan. I don't know, like it was ever since he fought Cerrone, and which wasn't too long ago, and like he knocked Cerrone down and like stood over him. Like Cerrone's my boy. He's a legend. Don't do that to Cowboy. I'm going to go Darren Till. Plus, I love Darren Till. So
yeah.
I'm going to go Darren Till. I don't think it's going to go knockout, though. I think it's going to go to a decision.
I wouldn't mind a decision because I think these guys could really go at it. Anybody could win by knockout at any moment in time between these two guys. I think Darren Till's going to win just because he probably has that endurance edge over Masvidal. So I think I'm going to go Darren Till. We relatively normally pick like the same guys because we're fans of like the same fighters.
Yeah, we like the same personality guys because we don't even just. It's not even just about we like the same guys who kind of have the same weapons too. So it's kind of like their personalities mixed with what they do in the cage. And Till's exciting. I don't think Masvidal will get knocked out though because
He has a chin, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him in the street fight videos. Like, the dude's not going to get knocked out. So that's why I think, and Till is an animal too. So that's why I think it's going to go to decision.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So what do we got next?
I think that's it, man.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think that's everything.
That's it, man. That's the episode.
Man, that went fast. Not really. I mean, it's like an hour and 20-minute episode, but it felt like it went fast.
Yeah, it actually took longer than I thought, but it went by pretty quickly.
Yeah, so everybody, thanks for listening. Make sure you go, even though we're going to be uploading this to Anchor, so SoundCloud will be no more. We're going to upload to Anchor, so we'll share that link out to you. And that's what we'll be uploading on from now on. But that will also be on iTunes. So you'll be able to listen to it on Anchor. If you don't have Anchor, download the app and search for us. It's on there. And if you have iTunes, it'll still be up on iTunes. So no worries there.
Or the podcast app on iPhones.
Yeah, or the podcast app. And eventually Anchor is going to put it on like Podbean and things like that. So it'll be on, I think they distribute to 11 different platforms. So you'll have a bunch of different ways to listen to it. But right now, Anchor and iTunes. Make sure you go give our other podcasts a listen. So we have Leave the Pin In. They're also on Anchor now. So all their episodes will be uploaded on Anchor. So you just search up Leave the Pin In and Squash Match podcast.
I'm definitely going to go and give Squash Match a listen because I am a ride or die WWE fan. And there really aren't that many WWE podcasts out there.
Yeah, you'll like it. They actually go into some independent stuff too.
I love the NBCs.
So you'll like that. So make sure you go give those a listen. I would also like to thank Train on Main, one of our sponsors that we didn't mention in the beginning that I want to give a shout out now. You can go check them out at 427 Main Street, Stroudsburg. Just ask for Dan. It's a really good small gym, but it's a nice gym. You know, the trainers will work with you one-on-one. It's an actual one-on-one setting. So you go in there, tell them what you want done, what you want to work on, and they'll set it up for you with a plan and everything. So make sure you go check out Train on Main. So anything you want to add?
Nah, man, that's it for me today.
All right, so Luke did not die on us today. He was sick. He went through this, and you wouldn't even know he was sick.
I was a warrior today.
An absolute warrior. So make sure you share, subscribe, give us a shout out, tell your friends about it, and we will see you again on Tuesday. Peace out.
See ya. I'll never be a millionaire. Whoa, boom, boom, and zippity zoom. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love. I don't care. And zippity hop, I'm as happy as I can be. Boom, boom, and zippity zoom. Love is sweet, love is grand, works one. We bop and zippity hop. I'll never be a millionaire.